The Switch 2 is worth all of the money. It's worth everything in your wallet. I would give my entire wallet for the Switch 2. So, yeah, stop bitching about how much the Switch 2 and its games cost. Because you know what? It's worth all of your money. It's worth everything. Because, guys, we are so back. Nintendo is so back. Look, I'm not gonna lie, alright? I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna beat around the bush here. I have had my ups and downs, my love and hate feelings when it comes to Nintendo for the past several years. Ever since they first launched the Wii, ever since they shifted away from keeping their hardware specs up to date, ever since they kind of fell behind hugely on online functionality and things like that. And, sure, they still cranked out some great games here and there. And the hardware itself, over time, by the time we got to the Switch, became extremely novel and delivered things that other consoles did not deliver. Yeah, so like, I'm not saying it was all bad, but I've never been a fan of the Wii. The Wii U, of course, was just badly marketed, even though it was a better console than the Wii, with a better idea and concept. And then finally, we got to the Switch, which was a brilliant idea, brilliant concept. It still had some great games here and there, but even that console, I had my problems with. I had some issues with, namely the fact that, again, the hardware was still a little behind the curve, a little dated, and yes, I know graphics aren't everything. I'm not usually the guy who sits there obsessing over frame rates and, polygon count and things like that, but still, there were a lot of freaking games that just didn't run well on the goddamn Switch. Let's be honest. Especially third-party stuff. And ultimately, yeah, they still put out some great exclusives here and there. But yeah, I still had my issues with the Switch. Not the best online functionality, not the best graphics, the hardware specs themselves were a little behind. But the Switch was still a great concept. And even though the Steam Deck would eventually come out to rival it a bit and offer something similar, you know, Switch is good. I like Switch. I still think it's the best console since the GameCube. I still think Nintendo pulled it back considerably from the Wii era. But then, then we get the Switch 2 presentation the other day, or last week. I'm a little late on this, but still, the Switch 2 presentation was everything I wanted, mostly. With the exception of one thing, it doesn't have streaming. At no point in the presentation did we get any kind of confirmation or demonstration of Switch 2 streaming capabilities, which is sad. I was kind of hoping it would have that, but it does have more robust online functionality, particularly when playing online with other players. And here's the thing that I'm going to get into with this video. I'm not normally a guy who cares about multiplayer. I'm not normally a guy that cares about a lot of things that was announced at this presentation, including the big exclusives. So, like, normally, okay, having a Discord chat style functionality on the Switch 2 with a camera and everything else might seem like something that doesn't matter to me, but honestly, given the Switch 2's functionality and given what it can do, uh, I'm actually far more interested in that. So, yeah, let's start out here with the games. Let's just dive right into it and get to the games, because two of the biggest titles, first-party exclusives that were announced for the Switch 2, are from franchises I normally don't even give a shit about. For starting with Mario Kart World, okay, I'm not a huge Mario Kart fan. In fact, I normally just don't care about Mario Kart. I mean, racing games, they can be fun. I enjoy them from time to time. And I did dabble in a couple of Mario Kart games on occasion. I played Mario Kart 64 back in the day. I played, Mario Kart 7 at one point, I think. They're fun racing games, whatever, but like, okay, Mario Kart World, an open world style game where you can just drive off road and go anywhere and get into races seamlessly. You can go back and forth between these two styles of play anytime you fucking want in this huge, massive, fucking Forza Motorsports style, just open world road game. Um, cool, awesome. Oh, and the Switch has new hardware capabilities that include running in 120 frames per second, even in handheld mode. Okay, um, wow, Nintendo. Wow. And I know I just said I don't usually care about that stuff, about frame rates or whatever, but like thinking about this game that you can play in handheld, this racing game, this high speed racing game that you can play with tons of other players, better online functionality. You can play it at 120 frames per second, super smooth, super high definition graphics, on a bigger, better screen than the original Switch. And I'm already extremely hyped. I'm already like, oh, this is the launch title. This is their big launch title. It's not a new 3D like Mario platformer or anything like that. But already, like, to me, this is a far better launch title than fucking Breath of the Wild, which I always thought was overrated. Not a fan of that game. But Mario Kart World, I'm like, holy shit. This is like, okay, you got me. You got me. You got me to care about like a Nintendo franchise I usually don't give a fuck about. And then towards the end of the presentation, we get Donkey Kong Bonanza, which, okay, another franchise that I especially don't care about. I've never been a Donkey Kong fan. Never gave a shit about Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong was like, whether it was Donkey Kong Country back on the SNES, or Donkey Kong 64, or even the new shinier Donkey Kong Country style games that Retro Studio put out, I've never gave a shit about Donkey Kong. Just never. At all. So, like, I thought those games were always boring. And then I see Donkey Kong Bonanza, this explosively colorful, bombastic game loaded with personality and all these expressive animations, and like the way they redesigned Kong himself, the way they designed the open world you're running around in, the destructibility of the environments, and I'm like, holy shit, like this is the level of quality and charm and personality they usually put into like a new Mario Galaxy or Odyssey or something. And I'm like, holy shit, this looks good. Yeah, like I actually want to play a Donkey Kong game? What? So that's coming out soon after launch, only like a month after launch, and I'm like, okay, that's two big games that I actually really want to play, that look really good, run really well, and are gorgeous to look at, and have fresh, inventive, unique mechanics and gameplay systems that I've never seen from these franchises before. That makes me want to play them. You know, it's like, holy shit. Funny enough, the game I should have been most excited about, the franchise that I normally care a lot more about, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. I'm a big Metroid guy, like, at least when it comes to the Prime games, especially. Like, you know, I played the shit out of the remaster. I love Metroid Prime, but am I the only one who's actually not as hyped for Metroid Prime 4? Like, don't get me wrong, the stuff that looks good, that looks like familiar, traditional Metroid Prime, looks and sounds better than ever before. And, you know, the thought of playing Prime with, like, those new mouse mechanics that they added to the Switch 2, or like the higher frame rates and everything, it's like, okay, cool, yeah, it'll probably play better than ever too. But like when they showed off like those new psychic abilities that Samus is gonna have, and the hokey like dialogue about like Samus, you're the chosen one, and all this shit, I'm like, does anybody else think this looks a little stale for a new Metroid Prime game? The first one we've had since Metroid Prime 3 on the Wii. Like, doesn't this look a little like they don't have much new to show off? Like when you look at how like Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong Bonanza look like they're reinventing those franchises and doing new shit. The only new shit out of the Prime 4 footage that we saw was like, okay, now you have psychic abilities. Samus can use these new psychic powers to open doors. Uh, okay. We could do that already. Yeah, Samus could always open doors. That you just shoot the doors. That's faster. Like she took like some object from like one part of the room and then shot it across the other end of the room and the door opened. And I'm like, that's okay. It's not the most exciting thing to do with psychic powers, but then the next thing she did was like some bullet time shit, some Max Payne bullet time shit where like the bullet went through multiple enemies because she can control her beam or whatever. Her beam went through multiple enemies at once and it was like kind of slow looking and awkward and I was like, what is this? Like this doesn't look like a fun gameplay mechanic. I'd rather just shoot the enemies in real time than guide my beam slowly and awkwardly through each enemy, like in slow motion. Like what? Huh? Like these look like the shit they were showing off just looked like early 2000s mechanics that you would put in like a shooter style game. And then, like, at another point she's like tracing with her psychic powers. It's like she's tracing a circle or moving a dial and I'm like, what? How does this? Like, none of that looked innovative. None of that looked like it built on the Metroid Prime formula. Although I will say that new suit she's wearing, that new suit Samus has at the end of the trailer looked pretty dope. I'm not gonna lie, that red and black suit is pretty fire. Um, so that's cool. Like the visuals looked good, the art style and all of that. Like it looks like a Metroid Prime game. Don't get me wrong, and it could still end up being brilliant when I get my hands on it and try to play it. And that's if I hear good things beforehand. But out of all these games, that's actually the one I'm least excited about. I never thought a new Metroid Prime would be the one that I'm like, okay, looks cool, but Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong Bonanza have me more excited. What? So like, weird times, man, weird times. And then the biggest shock of the whole presentation, the big jaw dropper, From Software. We get a new From Software game that's exclusive to the Switch too, and it looks 100% like a Bloodborne spiritual sequel, the Dusk Bloods. I mean, that was the moment right there where it's like, holy shit, Nintendo's not playing around. Like, holy shit. Bloodborne's been in Sony licensing hell forever, and From Software went to Nintendo instead and, did their own, legally distinct Bloodborne sequel. That being said, I was a little disappointed at first because it's like, oh, it's a multiplayer game. Another Night Rain style thing, except instead of co-op, this is a player versus player game. You pick a character and everybody's got different characters with different abilities and you just run around a big map fighting enemies and fighting each other. And it's like, okay, the funny thing is I'm actually more excited. I'm a lot more excited for Dusk Bloods than I ever was for Night Rain, which I had no interest in. Because whereas Night Rain just looks like more Elden Ring with a tighter co-op focus, this game actually looks like a multiplayer game that I would play. Especially since it's on the Switch too and has that portability and the improved online functionality that Switch didn't have before. Like, that got my attention, and you know what? Given the aesthetics, given the refreshing Bloodborne style aesthetics that we haven't seen in a while, and the fact that Hidetaka Miyazaki himself is directing it, this might be like a shift that I'm okay with. Like on the Switch too, especially. Yeah, I'll play a multiplayer Bloodborne style free-for-all game, battle royale style game. Fuck it. It's better than like a Call of Duty battle royale. Like I'm actually interested in seeing a Miyazaki directed multiplayer free-for-all Bloodborne game. I don't know, man. Call me crazy. Like I said, stuff I normally wouldn't care about. Stuff I normally. This is the magic of this Nintendo Switch 2 presentation to me. And that's why I'm not even, I'm joking about the freaking price because at the end of the day, yeah, the Switch 2 is going to be like 450, and the games are going to be like anywhere from 70 to, in the case of Mario Kart World, $80. I don't care. I don't care. Nintendo, take my money. You've earned it. Like the Switch 2 looks incredible. The hardware on that thing looks incredible. Uh, it's great to see Nintendo finally catch up with modern times. The fact that games like Cyberpunk and uh, and Elden Ring and all these big ass AAA games can actually run on the Switch 2 and are being ported to Switch 2. Final Fantasy VII Remake's gonna be on there. Like, okay, okay, like cool. I'm not as excited for all that stuff coming to Switch 2 as I am for like the exclusive stuff they announced, but that's a good thing. That to me shows like not only do they have exclusives I give a shit about for once, but like they actually have third party support that doesn't suck. Like, okay, okay, so Nintendo, like you've won me back fully this time. Like not just halfway. Like there's no caveats. I don't care if the price is the only caveat for so many people. It's like, oh, I don't know, I don't want to pay 80. It's like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like maybe it means I'll be buying fewer games, or I'll be buying games less frequently for it when I first pick it up. But like quality over quantity, man. Like the launch title alone is looks so good. Like this is a system I'm going to be playing for years. Yeah, like that we already have four incredible looking exclusives for this console. You know, like I don't know what's the problem. Price be damned. I want to buy a Switch 2. I actually plan to get one before the year is over. I won't get it at launch, of course, because I never do that, but this might be the first time in ages that I actually want a new console the year it came out. Not just like wait a couple years. Like I actually want one this year. Like that never happens to me. I never want a console at launch anymore. You know, I know diehard Zelda fanatics. Breath of the Wild was enough for them to buy the Switch at launch. Unfortunately, it wasn't for me, but this time I might actually do it. Not at launch, but pretty damn close to launch. Because, I mean, come on, man. Y'all can't put some money aside. You can't save. You can't, like, I'm as poor as a freaking mouse. I still manage. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is my hobby, man. And if Nintendo is going to bring the quality and they're going to bring their A game better than they have in ages, um, never mind the fact that all of your Switch 1 stuff gets carried over, as is the new trend now. All that stuff gets carried over, all your data, all your games. Like, yeah, no, this is great. Like, I, I'm down. I'm down. The console wars are back, baby. Sony, look out. Yeah, like I love my PS5, and I actually, still get excited about upcoming stuff on my PlayStation 5, but like Sony has some competition for once. For the first time in like 1,000 years, they have competition. And who thought in a million years it would be coming from Nintendo now, who have been in their own little bubble for so long? And I've had people, like, again, people are disappointed. People are, crying foul at Nintendo, like, oh, you're a premium console now. You've gone the Sony route. Are you gonna be all premium and expensive? Oh, I don't want to buy that. Well, you're gonna miss out. Yeah, it's premium. I want premium. I want high quality. I will pay more to have higher quality things. You know, some people may call that like, uh, uh, what's it called? Like frivolous spending, or you know, that I'm careless with money or something. But like, no, like I could just as easily call everybody else a cheapskate, because at the end of the day, I'm okay with paying for quality. That's it. And the Switch 2 looks quality. So, Yeah, I'm quite impressed with what I've seen in this presentation. Quite impressed. I'm not saying everything they showed off in that presentation was exciting. I mean, you know, I could care less about like, oh, pay for this silly Nintendo Switch hardware tour thing where we show you the inside of your Switch 2 console and oh, get out of here with that. Yeah, there's plenty of like stupid shit that they showed off in that presentation, don't get me wrong. But boy, did the good outweigh the bad. Like, for me at least. Yeah, like they hit some big fucking marks that they had to hit. And yeah, no, I want this console. I want it. I don't care. Charge me everything, Nintendo. Switch 2 is worth all the monies, guys. All the monies. It's worth all the money. Okay? It brings it. They are bringing their A game. So anyway, that's all I got to say about that presentation for now. You guys get to burning and live for the passion. Bye.